All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are new, my name is Austin Silver. Today, I've got a very, very special video for you. I have a guest with me at home in the office. Riley's behind the camera, and we're going to be talking about losses and the lessons that Andrew and myself have learned over the last 5 years trading actively in the Forex market. There's always a lot of positives that we can talk about when we talk about trading. The profit potential, the freedom of time, all of those things, not having a boss, all of those things. We could talk about that forever. But I think that that doesn't always bring people direct value. So today, this video, however long this talk goes, I hope that the takeaway for everybody watching is the value that you can get not only from the positives, but also from the losses and the things that those losses have taught you. So everybody, I've got Andrew here with me. Andrew, bro.
Hey.
I know we're friends for a long time, but I figured
man.
we got to start it with a handshake and keep it kind of formal because cool. I want everyone to kind of understand that you have been with me from the jump. I mean, we'll go back in a second and talk where we met and how we got into this together, but you're someone who, out of everybody that I've worked with, and I mean, we know it's thousands of people over the last 5 years,
It's been a lot.
You are someone that no matter what, never has given up. And no matter how much you've lost, regardless of what mental struggles that put you through, whether it was in trading or outside of trading either, whatever it was, you kept going. And I think that that characteristic is something that all successful traders share. And that's something that hopefully, like I said, the people watching here today can take away from you. So let's just start back at the beginning with how did we meet? What about trading really appealed to you? Give everybody just like a brief history of you and your entrepreneurial tendencies.
Well, I guess we first started because my other line of work is video production. So I happened to see an Austin Silver Now video that you had posted, and you were talking about like the 10% rule or, you know, some type of financial.
Now, this was what year?
Oh, man, this was
2015, 2016.
Yeah, somewhere along.
Because I was still living in Jersey at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched this video, and I went to Rutgers before I dropped out. So accounting and financials still appealed to me, and I was like, wow, this kid's really giving a lot of value. And I saw that the video could use some help, and I was trying to expand what I was doing.
You were like, let me help this guy because his content's pretty good, but the production, like my videos were just me holding a camera on a like basically like one of these.
It was, you know, I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely mutual beneficial because I was trying to expand what I was doing as well. So it's like, if I can connect with you and help your videos and help me get my name out there, so it was mutually beneficial. So then we met. And we had a cool conversation at Starbucks, and then a couple of weeks had gone by, and we hadn't really caught up on anything. I guess things were going on. Mm-hmm. And I saw on Snapchat that you were posting
trading.
Yeah, and I had no idea what it was, and I just saw like these numbers, and they weren't like significant, but I was just like, what is this? So
I got your teeth wet.
Exactly.
Your mouth wet.
So I just, contacted you again and said, yeah, what is this? And you're like, yo, this is Forex. You should learn how to do this. It's day trading. And my nature is also a gambler. I've made a lot of money playing roulette.
Right.
So
it already kind of, when you,
I came
we know
in,
the line of trading and gambling, so you kind of.
Yeah, I was definitely the quintessential, trading gambler, but that's just because of who I was. I had been gambling for some time and making some pretty good money doing it.
So you saw the parallel and you were like, let me see, I could probably do what I did over there, do it right here. So right there, I mean, kind of fast forward now through, we started trading together. How did you, and be honest, be direct with us, how did you do in those first, let's say, 6 to 12 months? Where did you, even just the first 6 months, like what were the emotions you were feeling? And then really what did that emotion lead you to act on?
I think that initially the gambling idea of it, like, oh my God, I can make like millions of dollars doing this. I can make hundreds of thousands of dollars doing this. Like, I want in.
Right.
And I don't think that off the jump, that mentality was correct because I didn't have like a really good system in place of like exits and entries
risk
and
management.
Everything that goes into it. But even just a solid system, I didn't have that at first. Like, it was all still new and trying to figure it out. So at that point, I'm just, I know a little bit, so I'm just gonna like chuck money into it, and I'll probably be right. It's like gambling, right? You can't be wrong all the time, but it's totally with the market. You cannot be more wrong. It's not even a coin flip.
It's not. And that's gambler's fallacy. So we could talk about that, but I think, and that is something that probably came from the money that you made while you were gambling. Like, that shows you that, look, it gets you thinking certain things, honestly. And I've been there where you're like, I'm different than everybody else. Like, I'm not going to have the same return as everybody else. Yeah, everybody else might lose X amount of times and then only win, but I'm different. I'm not going to let that, you know what I mean? I've been there. And that's part of what I actually talk about a lot, I think more recently as I've gotten older as a trader, is just getting out of your own way, getting out of your own head. And that's something that back when we first started trading, we didn't even know that. So jumping back to where you first got into trading, did you start with a demo account?
At first, I traded with a demo, but for like probably 2 weeks.
What kept you from staying with the demo? What was the mindset with the demo?
I think I just had disposable income, and I was basically, you know, not to your fault, but you go around on Instagram and you see
Wins.
You see people living a
Everybody's
lifestyle,
living a life. Dude,
and you're
you don't
like,
see it. Everybody's winning.
Right.
It's Instagram.
Everybody's a
winning.
millionaire. So, you know, immediately you start seeing that, and I'm like, well, what am I waiting for? Obviously,
get off this demo.
Gambler's mentality. Like, I know what I'm doing. I can just, you know, kind of blindly navigate my way through it. So demo wasn't very long, and that's definitely a mistake. But I think that when you first start off, like a lot of people have these mistakes because they're all coming into this through the same pipeline. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's
like they're getting sold a dream by, and sometimes unbeknownst to them by friends or family, whoever else gets you interested in this. A lot of times it's like IML, so it can be malicious. They're just trying to suck you in. They don't care.
Sure.
They teach you a shit strat, and they say, yeah, here you go. You're going to be
Get
a millionaire.
your friends signed up.
So that's the problem. Everyone's coming through that same pipeline. And I was a victim of that pipeline as well. This is the dream.
Yes.
Here it is. All you have to do is learn this one thing, and you're going to be a millionaire, you know, in no time. And that's the wrong pipeline. The pipeline now, in the way that, you know, it's being taught with ASFX, is like, come in and understand that you're not quitting your job tomorrow. Right. You know, that you're not going to be a millionaire
So overnight. Is that something you wish you would have known earlier, was to not step away from the job? So like, if we go back to it, how long was it before you pulled away from other sources of income because you were like, I need to go balls into trading. Like, this is what I need to do.
I mean, I quit. I had 2 jobs. You know, I work in a restaurant. I make a lot of money doing that. I have video production. You know, so I do well. I had disposable income, which also led me to taking a lot of losses because I was like, oh, I can afford to lose it, which that's just silly in its own right. Yeah. But that's where I was. And I would say that if I had learned like what is going on now, I still don't know that maybe I was mentally ready for it. Because
so it's more than just the strategy, what you're saying. It's the mental readiness of, I'm going to leave my job and rely on this for income. That takes a big mental decision. It's a lot of discipline to be able to commit to that idea. You know, it's very difficult. So you think you jumped into it a little bit too early?
Yeah, I left my job way too soon. I was trying to do video production full time, so I was still doing that. I still had that income, but I was getting rid of the restaurant to try and like move out of serving.
And what happened from there?
And then, I mean, from there till now, like it definitely set me back 2 years. But you know, it's like a paid education. Like I dropped out of Rutgers, and you know, with trading, sometimes you gotta pay. You know, you gotta
pay a cost of doing business, almost like, and you know what?
It's like tuition.
It is, and it's tough because there's a lot of like adult senior traders out there that are like, no, you don't need to do that. It's not paying tuition. But to the point that they don't speak about a lot, I feel like, is that there isn't a lot of great education out there. And if there's not great education out there, if there aren't a lot of solid communities that you can really get into and make money off the jump and feel like you know what you're doing, if there's not that, then how can you expect the result to be anything but that? You know what I mean? So I think that so because you have that lack, and then like you said, people coming in through that funnel, people all kind of coming into this for the wrong reason, it makes it very easy to be a gambler, to fall into those biases, those human biases. I can't be wrong again. I got to go bigger this time. The
market has to do this. Like, oh, look at this thing. It's been going up for like 2 weeks. It has to turn around.
Exactly.
You know,
and those are the things
you don't truly understand.
And the only thing the only way you can really learn that, I think, is by doing what you said, paying the cost, paying the tuition. So to all the older guys that are always saying, like, you don't need to do that, you don't need to go through, I think kind of you do. And even, like you said, now with our program and the way that the system works and the way that we put people through the education before they come into the community, I still think that there's a degree of loss that you have to anticipate, and you should want the losses, almost, not big losses, but losses within what you're doing, losses that you understand what you're doing so you can adjust, you can tweak. For example, I had a call yesterday, like I told you, with one of the guys in our group, Jacob. Jacob was saying to me, like, even that day, yesterday, he took a trade where he got into early. The cross wasn't there. The identification for the system just wasn't there yet. And he got in early and he got burned. Mm-hmm. And we talked about that eagerness and what that can lead. And it really does go back to the same thing that causes your gambler's fallacy, the same thing that causes people to think, oh, it can't lose again, let me go bigger. The same thing, you know what it is? It's fear. It's lack of abundance. And I think that as new traders, when we started in this, and the reason that a lot of people watching lose money is rooted in fear. It can't be anything else. It's fear that they forget that there's more coming tomorrow, more coming next week, more coming next month. It's lack of abundance. It's worrying that there isn't going to be enough for you. And that mindset is the opposite of what successful traders have. The successful trader always is thinking how much there is. Wow, there's so much for me. I don't need all of that. There's too much out there. You know what I'm saying? There's too many opportunities to trade. The skill of being a trader is just so great. I'm so grateful for it. That type of positive mindset versus looking at it the other way is what makes, I think, successful people be that. And like you said, the only way you get to that point is by what? Paying the cost and staying alive. And we've talked about that a lot, I think, is that staying alive is a very crucial thing. And you've really managed to do that well. So talk to a newer trader. If I was someone that just started, what would you tell me as far as like how to survive? Give me an actionable thing, someone watching that they can take away. How can I survive like you did? If I'm going through this period where I don't have a system, I haven't tried Austin's system, I haven't tried any other profitable, I can't find it. How do I survive? What do I do, Drew?
I think right off the jump that, to go back to your point, you don't have to take these losses. I kind of agree with like what you're saying with like the older traders. Like if you can, you don't have to. It will happen. You will lose, but you don't have to take them. I think the best way to get started trading is to learn about it and everything that goes into it and become proficient in that. Like educate yourself on how to execute orders, because you could try and hit buy and hit sell and now all of a sudden you've lost money.
Don't even
It can be so silly.
That is so true, dude. For new people, I mean, even Riley when she's
too.
Everybody,
it happens.
So and keep going.
So I think that's a great step. Like understand how to work the
fundamentals of the market, like the structure of your business. I would consider them business tools. So you would say, grasp your business tools. Okay, so what next? Once I feel like I got a grasp of the tools.
I think then what you want to do is you want to find and where you should spend the money is not in an account, but in education.
Right.
Find a reputable trader or group of traders who you're like, yo, these guys seem legit. They seem like they're teaching something valuable. Let me put a couple $100s into that, get with this community of people, and feel it out. Now, sometimes, unfortunately, you might have to bounce around to a few people before you find one that stick. That's why, I stay so tight with ASFX and everything that's going on here, not just because we kind of started from the bottom together, but
it works.
Just because time and time again, no matter, what I've had in my mind, I always said, man, this does work though. It's just my head. It's just if I can get my head right, So this course and what you teach here is great. I think this honest to goodness is the best place to start because you teach risk management, you teach very precise entries and exits that people can stick to and work with, and they are back tested and they're proven to work, so that's great. Okay,
so it works.
Now what else?
Right. So now we've gotten our 2 points. So you said as far as staying alive for a new trader, 1 was know your business tools, 2 was spend your money on education. What's the 3rd or 4th point?
Honestly,
to survive.
And people don't want to hear it, demo. People don't want to hear it,
Dude, I tell people all the time, you have to.
It's the truth.
Because, and here, I'll even cut you off, just tell you. People will tell me, well, it's not real emotions. No, you're not taking it seriously enough. That's it. You're going to tell me it's not. You can't grasp the fact that, no, it is not real money, but you can act like it is.
There is
it doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's weak-minded people say that shit.
I think that there is something to be said between a demo and emotions, but I think that the higher picture that you really need to understand is that when you're trading a really good system, you're going to win and you're going to lose. But if you understand the risk that you're taking on a trade, you're appropriately putting the right amount of risk for your account. That takes out emotion because then
it's part of the plan.
This is just, here it is. This is a pattern. At this point, when this does this, I do this. If it wins, great. My pattern's, working in my edge. If it doesn't, okay, was I wrong about something? Let me learn what's going on. But honestly, you don't have to put in real money to work a system. And if you continually work the system on a demo, and then after a month, 2 months, 3 months, you're really like, wow, like I know what I'm doing. I can do this with my eyes closed. At that point, you should have been saving this whole time, and that's something that I wish I had done. If instead of losing, close to $25,000 over, 3 years of trading, if over that time while I was learning, now I probably wouldn't have demoed that long, but working on the mindset, working on the actionable
even demoing
essentials.
for a third of that time.
Yeah,
It saved
even a
you
year.
So much money.
I could have saved up $7,000-8,000, put it into a nice account, and been like, okay, let's go. And then you're on your trading journey. But instead, all that money is not gone, because as long as the market holds it, I have an opportunity to take it back. So it's not gone. It's just on retainer. And now it's up to me to focus hard on what works mentally, physically.
And repeat it, and repeat it.
And that's it. It's just it's repetition. So you get your reps in.
We now have 3 things to survive.
Yeah.
Delay the business, spend the money on the education, start with the demo. Anything else?
Yeah. Understand patience.
Yeah.
And the time that it takes. I think
does that mean?
I think that you have to understand that this market can, and any market, stocks, but particularly Forex, because that's what we trade. If you take this market serious and take it like a business, and we talk about percentages all the time because I'm still have some gambler, I like to risk a little higher, 2 to 3% across the board on setups. You're a little bit more tighter with the financials, but the idea is that patience, all accounts can grow.
Always.
And I think that if you're willing to, if you're like, wow, over the course of a year, I did 60% on this account. Where are you getting 60%? Nowhere. IRAs, mutual funds, any of these multitude of places you can put your money. Your regular bank gives you maybe 1% a year. So if you're that good of a trader, and to get 60% is good.
Yeah.
Some people say, oh, that's nothing, but it's not that. It's about the consistency.
Here, and even right there, I think tying into the patience point is like the last thing that a new trader would need is something you just said, and it's very important. You said other people will say it's not enough.
Right.
Stop worrying about other people. As a new trader, like the 5th point that you probably could make would be stop caring about what everybody else is doing. Yeah. Your mom, your dad, whatever they're saying about trading, don't worry about it. The guys on Instagram, don't worry about it. And I'm a guy on Instagram, and I'm telling you not to worry about it, because if you do, you get sidetracked. And then because what you just basically said was the only reason that you think 60% a year is not good is because someone else said it isn't enough. Right. That is ridiculous. That is such bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a lower level concept that new traders are stuck in. And when you can break out, like you said, now that we have, and we can look back on it, you can look back when you were in that mindset. Right. You can see how trapping it really is.
And then the other thing with the patience is like, and we were talking about this last night with Riley too, it's like people put money into all different funds for savings. Yeah. People have 401ks, they have all these things. But it's like, why not your trading account?
Right.
If you're becoming a consistent and profitable trader, why would you not continue to work your other job and funnel your excess into this as a savings account? Then you're actively trading your own retirement. And if you have patience, in 10 years, you could legitimately retire.
Even sooner than
legitimate.
That. Even, and then live off of that money. And the thing with that is people don't think like that. And if you did, basically what you're saying is, instead of worrying about putting the money into the market and the 401k where you have no control, put the money into just a different market and have full control. Right. Full control. Every day you control everything.
And it's whatever risk you choose to, if you really want to be aggressive, you can be aggressive. But if you want to just slow grow it, like we said, 1% to 5% at the most is probably what you'll get on any like normal, interest-bearing account.
Yes.
But I mean, you could do that in a month trading.
Easy.
I mean, you could do it in a week.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like you can actively take over your life, but there's one thing above all that it really comes down to.
Patience.
It comes down to patience and your mind, which is,
one and the same.
It's cohesive together. Like, if you don't have the right approach, if you're not looking at this as a business and you're just like, I'm going to get rich quick, then you're going to lose $25,000 like I did. You're going to lose more than that. And if you don't have it, you could really ruin your life.
And we know people
and there are dark sides to this market. I mean, people are out there hurting and they're still throwing money at this account. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. And that's why a lot of people give trading a bad rap, because a lot of people do it the wrong way.
Talk specifically about that before you wrap your point up here. I know you said yesterday you spoke to a guy who was saying he was like looking to possibly come and take the course and join the team, but he's got a small account and he's still trading the small account.
Right.
Explain to people how stupid that is.
It's just,
and how that shows a lack of patience. It's just a pure greed, pure fear you're missing out today.
It's the funnel.
It's the funnel. Relax. Like, I just want to grab them, choke them, and say, relax.
Yeah.
Study for a month. Save money for a month. Your life would change. If I could stop the new trader in me, I'd be like, bro, slow the down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the funnel. It's just, like I said, it's the system that everyone's coming in through. They're coming in with rose-colored glasses. I'm going to be, making all kinds of thousands of dollars. I'm going to quit my job tomorrow.
They got beer goggles, pit goggles.
They're telling me like, hey, like, I'm saying, hey, it was when you're doing the webinar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's discounted. It's a great price. Like, you can get in on the cheap. You get this webinar, and then you get the course, and then you're in. It's like $212.
Yep.
I'm like, this is a great idea. Like, I'm not trying to push you anything, but if you had the money, do it. He's like, oh, well, I don't really have a lot of money in my bank account, but I've got like $400 in my trading account. And I said, well, skip the course right now. Let's cut to the root of what you just told me. You said you have like no money in your regular living bank account that you pay your bills and live gas to live your life. But you've got like $400 in your trading account, and that's the wrong mentality there. People are so rushed and enamored to get any little bit of extra money they have in this account.
Like, no disrespect to anybody that's sweating $400, but like, not at all am I being disrespectful. I'm just saying, like, be realistic.
Yeah.
You cannot expect to change your life with $400.
And that's, again, that's what the funnel gives. Like, the first couple accounts that I was funding, $100.
$100.
Blow
Me
it.
too. Burn.
One day.
I'm like, wait,
just
what's
throw
leverage?
It out the window.
What's leverage? Burn.
Right. Burn. One trade. Put in like a lot.
Right.
What's
a standard?
Yeah. Putting a standard lot on like a $100 account. Like, oh, it could support it. Let's do it. Like, why not? But that's gambling. That's the.
But we see
that's
so
the
many
funnel.
people that are falling for that are trapped in that. So just to kind of sum up that point, you said the 4 things that kept you alive. 1 was to learn the business skills, learn the MetaTrader, learn the charting, learn those things. Number 2 was to invest in education, solid education, solid community. And then you said the 3rd one was to start on a demo, and the 4th one was to be patient through that process, patient with that demo, patient to put that real money in, patient to do those things.
And have another job.
Keep another stream of income.
Yeah, I mean,
don't even have to call it a job. Call it a stream of income, because for me, like, I like to propose it to people as trading is your entrepreneurial venture. This is a solo mission. I'm going to help you, but you are the person clicking the button. Mm-hmm. You, as an entrepreneur, then need to take that to the next level and start creating other streams of income for yourself, like I've done. I think that is something, and like you've done, the video business, these skills.
I live without trading.
Exactly.
But I hope to live off trading. That's the transition.
Having those other skills that pay money, having all of these skills that pay money is the way to be in the future. So before we go into how the trading kind of transformed life for you financially, tell me about the things outside the market and how you've found balance that leads to profitable trading. For someone that's new, a lot of the time, a lot of questions that I get are, what are the hours I need to commit to this? What do I need to commit even to learning and studying, markups, those things? What do I need to commit to get reward out of this? And I always tell people it's you get what you give, 100%. But as far as like how you found balance, because I know for you, you don't do a lot of chart markups. Not a lot.
No.
You don't do a lot of off-chart study. You trade live, you come back the next day, you reset yourself. So what are you doing in those off hours that's keeping you fresh so you can come back and still follow that plan successfully?
Well, I still have other jobs or streams of income, whatever whatever colloquialism you want to use on it. But I focus a lot on like my video business. I have a lot of projects. I have some good clients that I've built up over the years. So I have work that I can continually do. So I do that, and that keeps me focused. And because I know that the harder I work on that, it's more money coming in. I still work at the restaurant, which I love, and it's a very good living. So I put those 2 jobs together, and the excess money that I now have, instead of throwing it into the market, what I'm doing is I'm slowing my approach, and I'm taking care of my personal debt and focusing on my business as a person. Like I have debt from like video cameras and equipment I purchased and just living.
So you're kind of trying to chop that down so that way the trading business has less liability.
Yeah, I'm approaching it from a different approach that I have over the last 3 years, because I'm like, if you always do the same thing, how can you expect a different result?
Right.
So by focusing on my priorities, lowering my overhead, my business, what it's going to do is allow me to put more money into my market account, which I'm trying to use as like a
Like
savings and retirement
right?
account.
Like pump the extra money into
right,
it,
exactly.
even as you're actively trading it. Like
yes,
you're still active with that money every day, but you're funneling more money into it to make it bigger, even if those are days where you're not trading, right? Or losing or whatever it may be.
I am a fortunate person in, I've worked my ass off to get where I'm at.
The money comes to you.
But I do well financially,
right.
So my situation may be different than other people.
You have this disposable income.
But this is also the hard work that I've done outside of the market,
and that's why
you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like you have to prop up who you are outside of the market, like emotionally, physically, financially. It's important. And then you come in to this market when you have those tools set up as well. So focusing on my personal debt and taking care of my finances and my business as a human, my life, it has made me better as a trader because I'm more focused. I broke down how long it was going to take me to the end of the year, or how much it was going to take me to the end of the year to pay off like my big credit debt. And I was like, okay, I need X amount each month and I can pay it off. So now I'm focused on the patience. Okay, I know that if I continually do well until January, I will have no debt.
That's awesome.
And I will be, financially independent, except for, cell phone, car insurance, the things that I choose. Like I won't have a car payment, won't have a credit card. For the first time, I'm going to be 37. I'm going to be debt free.
Yeah.
And this is from years of kind of doing things the wrong way and like a knucklehead. So these are my, lessons to people. But to the point, focusing on that, knowing that it's going to take me till January has slowed me down and says, as long as I just keep doing the steps that I've been doing, I'm going to get to where I want to be. And I said, well, wait a minute, why have I not been thinking about the market like this? And then there was just one day I had like a mental shift where I was like, this is exactly how I should be focusing on trading.
Parallel.
Right. Like if I consistently can just keep doing this, if I can hit one good trade a week, if I can hit 2 good trades a week, I'll have a really great week at like 2 to 3% of my account. And then, so over the last, little while, I've just been having like, man, I haven't lost in a while. Oh man, I just took one little loss. I'm already up like, 10% this week, because I trade a little bit more aggressively. So I'm like, wow, I can do this consistently. So taking care of myself outside of trading
makes it better.
Has made my trading better.
I think, and that goes back to, and just tying it into the other streams of income. If you have other income coming in, it's going to make you trade less stressed because your bills are fine, money's coming in, number one. Number two, it could lead you to doing stupid things like we talked, like you said, where you do throw money around because you have money coming in, right? But if you can get past that, like let's just assume hopefully the people listening are learning from you and me, and they get past that, then I think having that other stream of income in, whether you pump it into a trading account or not, if you just save it because you want to save and go on a trip, having that other stream of income will make the trading easier. And like the truth of the matter is, I was in your position. I was in everybody else's position, and I'm very grateful. But again, just like you, I feel like I warranted it because I worked my ass off.
Right.
So when you work your ass off, you warrant these freedoms, you warrant that, and that's what makes it so worthwhile. So when you can go from the idea of how you're kind of saying it, where it's been like this whole kind of clash between the way you're looking at finances personally versus finances in trading. And now it's kind of turned a corner and you're seeing how parallel they really are and how, yes, you need a trading plan. Yes, you need a plan to pay off your debts. Yes, you need to budget. Yes, you need to do these things that are on paper for a reason. Now you're starting to see the value in it. So tell me about, because it goes right into it, the trading plan. How important and how big of a change, because I know we talked about this before, but how big of a change and how much, I know you can't really speak on it enough, but speak on it if you can, the importance of having a plan with entries, with exits, with risk management, because when people say follow your plan, a lot of the time they're literally talking about if it hits a support zone on a Fibonacci number, you do it. And it's like this crazy idea of a plan. Talk to me about the specifics that you've seen work for yourself, for me, for other traders around you in their plan and how important that's been to you.
I mean, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, it's so silly.
I heard another one today, the 5 Ps of it's proper planning leads to improper planning leads to poor performance. Something like that 5 Ps. It was same thing.
Exactly. There's a million and one different sayings, but you often wonder why. It's because people who have gone through these things come up with these sayings that have spanned generations and they're tried and true.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's really what it is. I think that you need to understand, of course, your entries. You need to understand your exits. But before that, how much is this trade worth on my risk? Do I really like this setup? You know, you want to grade your trade. This looks like a really great setup. This looks like a so-so setup. And you want to understand how much risk you're applying to that trade based on what the trade is telling you. And then you have to understand, you know, your risk to reward. Am I going to be able to get this much out of it? So there's a lot more that goes into it.
And that's all written in your plan.
But this is professional trading. This is what it is. Like when I first started, I didn't talk about this. I was just like, it's going up, I'm buying it anywhere. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. But that's like being a young teenager and being immature and irresponsible and not worrying about it, to then becoming an adult where you have a house and you have kids or whatever it is, and you have more things you have to worry about. I think trading is the same. You grow through your trading, and trading very much parallels life. So you need a plan in your real life, you know, outside of trading, and you need a plan in the market, because if you're not understanding of what you're trying to achieve, then you're probably just going to fall apart.
And if it's not written on paper for you, how can you even hold yourself?
Too.
Yeah, how can you hold yourself accountable if it's not there?
To each their
Yeah,
own.
paper, pen, or digital, whatever it is.
People put it. Some people keep it in their mind. Some people like to see it every day. I think trading is very individualized, and whatever works for you. If doing a million markups works for people, then that's great. And I do believe that helps, because it's, if you say something in your head and then you write it on paper, you remember it better. So markups leads to that same idea of seeing it, and really like ingraining it in your head. But for other people, like Dom, to throw him out there, he didn't have to do markups, and he was a really good trader. So everyone's different.
Because I got to do them. I have to do them.
But that's what you have to grow and understand who you are as a trader. And having a plan is the first start to getting you there.
Getting yourself to owning that individual.
Because the plan helps you stay focused and helps you focus on other things besides the trade. You don't have to sweat the trade. I know this is my parameters. I put this much risk. If I lose, I already know what I'm losing. There's no guesswork unless something absolutely crazy happens, but that's so rare in this market.
And even if it's accounted for, because you're winning more than you're losing, so you have to follow that plan. Talk to me about the specifics within the plan. Like the things that you, even to the point, if you could give me any mindset tips that you remind yourself in the morning affirmations, things like that are a part of the plan to reinforce that positive mindset within yourself.
I think that it's just where you're trying to get to. And I think just taking it, I say it for me, like being a drug addict, you know, like gambling is an addiction for a lot of people, you know. So this can certainly be that. And, you know, I've had days where I've gone Monday through Thursday and I've crushed the market, and then on Friday I've blown it in one day. You know what I mean? So it's like you're an addict. You can go so long and you can do really well.
The discipline slips?
Yeah, for one day. And then you take that, you know, you take the crack, you take the heroin, whatever. It's like, seriously, it's like being a drug addict. It's an addiction. So
how do you combat it? How do you stop it? How did you stop it specifically?
You have to understand, just, you know, it's silly, but as I said, trading parallels life, you have to know that you are worth it, that your money is worth you being the best that you can be.
And that can go even to, when you say it like that, like know that you're worth it. It's like that positive affirmation. It goes into like, there is enough for me. I am worth everything that I've put into this.
It's a $5.2 trillion a day, like revolving market, if not more by now. Like it's huge. There's plenty for everybody. And I think what you have to understand is that you don't need the whole entire move. You don't need to catch every single trade. Like I said, you know, earlier, one good trade a week, 2 good trades a week. People are like, oh, I caught 500 pips this week. It's like, great, that's awesome. I wish I could do that. But you know what? I caught 50 and I made, you know, 12% on my account. I made 10% on my account. And that's the other thing, getting away from other people, but also away from the financial numbers, you know. So
that was good. You're taking the words out of my mouth. So talk to me about when you're building the plan and we're talking about the specifics. I've found for myself, attaching dollars screws up this whole business.
That's why we don't show them.
Right. And we could we can make other videos about that, but that goes back to just also privacy, but also the distraction. And I plan to do a video on this eventually. I keep saying it in videos that I'm going to do it, but I've never done it yet. This idea that I've come up with called the fantasy of numbers. And basically what I think it is that numbers, money with a dollar sign in front of it, induces us all to think different things. It creates this change in how we act as human beings when we see a dollar sign. And you can say you don't. You say you're stone cold. You still, to some degree, everyone that I've ever met, every trader, reacts on those dollars. So for me, I've learned little things. Close the terminal. Don't trade with the terminal open. Don't think in terms of dollars. Think in terms of percents. And I think that those, even just 2 things right there, shifted me into saying, why are you worried about how much money you're going to make rather than worried about, are you following the plan and are you taking good trades? Money comes and goes in any business and in life. It really does. We've all seen it. It moves in waves. But with the business of trading, like you said, as professional trading, when it comes down to that, what is that? That is having a plan.
Yeah.
That is acting on, it's acting on that plan and staying away from the money. And it's hard to say that because when we talk about a business only talks about money.
Right.
But in this business, it's very, very difficult to involve money in the conversation because it does, in my opinion, lead to a lot of distractions.
Right. And I think the reason that people focus on the money is because like
You're here for the money.
Instagram,
That's why we're here.
Everyone's floating the money, and that's why you got into trading. You want to make money, but I think that money is a byproduct of good trading.
Enhancement.
Yeah, it's mental. That's really my whole point to this market and perhaps any market. But trading well is mental. It's not monetary. And once you can get your head around the money and seeing it roll and like, oh my God, like I got all this money. It's happened to me plenty of times. You put a pretty good lot on and you're like, wow, man, this thing's pumping. I trade gold a lot, so gold moves. You put like 2 standards on gold and all of a sudden you're like, wow, I need to close this trade. But you caught like the smallest move, and that's where the plan comes in.
Screwing up the whole
I know
idea
what
of the
I'm
trade.
risking, and I know what I could potentially get. So what does the money matter?
Right.
Sure, like it's going up and you're like excited. That's because you're following your trade plan. But once you understand, and you consistently do it, the excitement should waver. Like everyone's still going to enjoy making money.
It's very true.
But I think if you consistently do it, it becomes
The excitement
the
does
same
pass.
old thing.
Yeah, because you're almost not even I go a lot of days in a row where I don't even open the terminal. I close the trade and I move on. Like I just don't even look at it because I do think a lot of the time it does lead you to acting off plan. Sure. It'll cause emotions. Like I said, it makes us emotional as human beings to see dollars. What doesn't matter if it's cold hard cash or dollars on the screen, it doesn't matter. We get emotional when we see that, and I think that to shift yourself away from it is only going to make you better. But if you get sucked into the conversations on social media or sucked into the conversations in the group chats about the dollars, you're already at a loss. You're just hurting yourself. So that's definitely an important point for, I think, a lot of new people to focus on, is staying away from the dollars. Talk to me now about the progression of your ability to detach from trades, detach from those dollars, and not even the dollars. We can kind of move away from that. Detach from the outcome. Say to yourself, if I lose this trade, it's okay.
It's process. It's all process driven. Like you never know where the market's going. You have edge. Yeah. You have probability. You have a process and a trading plan that leads you to the greatest edge. It's like being you're a gambler, but you're the house, right, instead of being on the other side of the table. Yeah. When you trade and you trade properly, you're trading with edge. Yeah. I might lose, but
more often than not.
Hopefully, if you have a good plan, and even with the right risk percentage, people say it all the time, 50-50, and you're still profitable. Cool. That just goes to show you that if you follow a good process and you're not risking absurd amounts on your account as far as risk management, you're taking proper risk. I'm following my process.
You're going to come out on top.
If I lose, then that's just the market.
But over the long run.
But more times than not, especially with a good system, you're going to win. So you take the trade and you let it roll. And a prime example of it is yesterday on this screen. EU trade. It was off an hour entry and it went 2-1. I closed the trade flat because I'm impatient. I still have those tendencies. Would have never stopped you out. It's a clear winner. There it is. It's literally on it. That was the trade yesterday, 2-1. So trusting the process, understanding that you stay in the trade no matter what. If it bumps me, it bumps me. If I win, I win. I'm following my process, and as long as I follow it over the long haul, things are going to go in my favor.
The solid risk reward is really important.
Absolutely.
I feel like people, you saw the conversation with that guy I had talking to me about
5R,
yeah,
6R.
and
Sure.
and that's great.
Yeah.
But in those situations,
Not necessary.
number one, it's not necessary. But they're losing, and this is what he was telling me, and this is why I don't understand.
I saw what he was saying.
He's like, I'm losing 6 out of 10 trades. I'm like, I'm winning 6 or
Right.
7 out of 10 trades,
If not more.
if not more. I mean, the last couple of weeks I've been really good, but
Right.
that's not the point. The point is
that is the point, though.
yes, but what I'm saying is the reverse approach of it is he's okay apparently.
Right.
Mr. Professional in the group chat, riling me up. Apparently, he's okay with losing that many times. And I know, and I wasn't talking shit back. I was saying to each his own. If you can do that,
Right.
fine. And he wasn't saying that he could or couldn't. All he kept saying is, well, my risk reward is 7. I'm like, right, brother, but you're literally losing
Right.
6 out of 10 in a row sometimes. You will lose. If you have a 40% win rate strategy, you bet your ass you're losing 7 or 8 trades in a row. I've been there. So it's like, I know what he's saying. It's just flip it. Just stop being okay with losing. Everybody's okay with losing in trading. Losing sucks.
Yeah.
Win. You know?
It breaks you down
The
if
losses,
you're losing
right?
that much.
It's
Like,
punches, paper cuts.
but again, that's also just a poor method.
Yeah,
Like there's ways in
What's
this
a good
market.
method?
A good method is one where you
Don't
have
just say the ASFX.
No,
first,
I
but
mean,
be specific.
it's
What makes it a good method?
multiple confluences across different time frames telling you the same thing, leading you to the same probable outcome.
Perfect. That's like so well said.
I mean, that's what it is.
But why? Now you said confluence of indicators. Now,
Yeah.
indicators are something that people are very controversial about. We know that in the trading community. I could briefly explain. Indicators work for everybody that wants to question it in Forex specifically. I won't speak on other markets, but they work here because price data doesn't gap. We were looking at over here actually the
right.
S&P 500 with all these gaps.
Every day it
No
gaps.
wonder indicators don't work. Prices all over the place. But here, from Friday or Sunday evening to Friday afternoon, the market's open. So price is clean, barring some breaking news, crazy shit, which doesn't happen often, but it does happen.
Sure.
But other than that, I would say 98 to 99% of the time, this market paints clean. And that's why indicators work. So now we're on the same page about why indicators work. Why do you look for confluence of indicators, and what does that mean? How much confluence? How many indicators? Give me specifics.
I mean, the more you could find, the better. But you want to do a top-down analysis. You want to look at the higher time frames and say, okay, overall, what does this market look like it's doing from a wider approach?
Yeah.
And you say, okay, this is clearly moving sideways. It's been moving sideways for the last 2 weeks. It's going up, it's going down. You want to find your overall, and then you drop down to an appropriate time frame how you like to trade. If you like to swing, you use the 1 hour and the 4 hour. If you like to go more intraday, you use the 15. Even we find plenty of trades off the 5. I think this market can be traded any way you want to trade it. You can use indicators, you can go naked, and it doesn't matter. If someone goes, oh, this person uses indicators, they suck. It's like, my account doesn't say that.
Right.
It's a mental thing, and that's the whole thing with this market. It's mental. So when you're trading and if you're using indicators and that works for you, then you want to find multiple alignments. Hey, look, I'm going to look to try and take this, short on an hour trade. On a daily, I can see it's just clearing the Dow trend. It's under the 8 and the 21 EMA.
So multiple time frames confirming to you.
They just tell you the same thing, and then you look for the finer parameters that are taught within your system. And our system teaches 2 to 3, 4 different ways of finding these entries.
And then going through those 14 or so different questions, 10 to 14 questions you can ask yourself. And I think that
it's a checklist.
it's a checklist. So now tell me, go parameters. This is
Right.
where people, when we talk about finding your plan and finding your entry signal, people don't use parameters, dude. People don't have a checklist. They're winging. Oh, this is a support zone. Buy it. Yeah. It's crazy.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's about consistency.
And we can talk about that even too, where people will do that, win, and think that that's now a strategy. And it's a flawed mindset. They're not following a consistent process. You guys can hear, hopefully at this point, a lot of the questions that I've asked Drew, the answers come back to just a few things.
Right.
Focus on the opposite of fear, focus on the abundance, focus on the trading plan, and focus on these mindset shifts. We're not even really spending a lot of time, you can see, talking about the technical charts because the technical charts are really just a language. Just like all of us could go buy Rosetta Stone and learn Spanish or learn German or learn Dutch, whatever. Go ahead. It'll take you a little bit of time, just like this will. Actually, I have my Rosetta Stone course that you can take for this, and then you'll master it. And guess what? Day 30 of you studying Spanish, you're going to be okay. Day 30 of this, you're going to be okay. If you study hard from day 30 to day 90, what do you think you're going to be like? Better or worse?
I mean,
in either situation, the Rosetta Stone or this, they're the same. You're going to be better. The work you put in will lead you to be better. So then taking that knowledge, that's what, 25% of what we do, bro? Of trading, that's the technical 25 maybe percent. I mean, we can wake up and be half asleep and find these things that are good trades. You know what I'm saying? The rest of it is mental. And that's what a lot of these answers are coming back to. And that's a really important thing because, again, the point of this whole talk is to make these new people understand that this is not going to give you the money that you're looking for.
No.
This is. If you can wrap your mind around reality, That's the best way to explain it. Reality. If you can wrap your mind around what goes into this and what good trading looks like versus bad trading, those characteristics that we've talked about
you
here.
know the difference too.
You
Some
have
people
to.
Get blind and they don't know the difference. They think that they're trading.
And I think that's a big thing that I preach a lot to Riley, to the people I teach. To learn something in any degree, whether it's trading or not, I think you have to learn both sides of it. When you want to talk about trades, I can't just show you winners. I got to show you losers so you can avoid that. In anything you ever want to learn, I think you want to learn both sides of it. So for you, someone that's now at this level where I would say you're in the fourth quadrant of conscious competence, like you feel like this is here. How would you say for someone who probably at this point watching this long on our videos is still at that point where they don't know if the strategy works for them? What would your answer be to someone that would say, Drew, I don't know if this strategy works for me?
I mean, that's a silly question, I guess, to me, like the strategy works. Maybe, it's not the type of trader that you want to be, which is why that strategy wouldn't work. But I guess you have to say, like, well, what are you looking for? What do you want out of this market?
Do you know yourself?
Right. What are you
enough.
What are you looking for?
Right.
Like
swing trading, day trading,
right.
naked trading, like you said, all of these things, which goes back to each his own. You have to find what works for you and flex that, work that, exercise that every day and get that jacked. Get fucking jacked on that. That's what you have to do, I think.
The strategies work regardless.
They
they all work to a percentage. Specifically speaking about ours, it's like if the strategy doesn't work, then it's you.
Yeah.
Because this is so simplified and detail-oriented, checklisted. And the reason that I can say that with confidence is I see people coming in every day, and within 2-3 weeks, they're like
Killing it,
legitimately. Like, I'll call out 2 people if I can, Shaba and Eleanor. We met them. I mean, but like people that I've seen from like months back, who have come into this market and didn't know anything. Eleanor was like, I don't understand what you guys are talking about, and I'm like, just stay with it, don't give up. And then now she's out calling the trade. She's killing it. Shaba still killing it. You know what I mean? And there's plenty other people.
We love everybody.
But those are just the 2 that I want to point out, because it's like, here are 2 people who literally came in illiterate, unable to speak the language, and are now calling trades for others, helping others.
We've never spoken in person. They've never done a phone call with me. Nothing.
No.
They put in the time
Yes.
and follow the process. Guys, like, we can really sum up, I think, the whole thing in just a few sentences. It's really about who's going to mentally decide that they're going to commit to this. And if you can take that first step of, I'm going to commit to this mentally, because it's going to tax you. It is going to be hard for your mental to do this. If you can commit to that, and you're not going to rush it, and you're not going to force things, and you are going to follow a plan, that's it. It's an amazing time to be alive. And we could talk about this a little bit just because of the capabilities of the internet. Mm-hmm. Not just speaking about our course and our program. There's a million great courses, I'm sure, out there that do work. I think ours is always going to be a little bit better. But there's so much information. We live in this digital age, right? How do you think, as time goes on, trading will evolve in the future? How do you see, and knowing now that there's an education system out there, and not only like ours, there's a lot of education systems out there that are making it easier than it was 5 years ago when we started to get into this. Bro, none of these companies that are selling education that I compete against, none of them existed 5 years ago. None of them. It's a new thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just like any other market. When people see that there's an opportunity, people move into that space.
So where's it going?
Where's it going? I mean,
think about automation. Think about computers. Think about all the people that are going to lose jobs, Drew, because they get kicked out of it by a robot. Where are they going to go to make money? Are they coming to trading? Are they looking somewhere else? What do you think?
I mean, it's definitely an issue that's coming up, like the integration between AI and things like that. And it's like, what even is AI? So that's another topic all on its own. But yeah, people are going to be displaced out of their jobs. Retail workers, are getting bumped out. Yeah, it's the whole Andrew Yang approach. His mentality and his platform is that, and it makes a lot of sense. So then you have to look at it and say, okay, well, if I'm a food service industry worker, because I work in like a nice steakhouse, is my job going to be where it's just something on the table and they punch in the order and then a couple, like a food runner runs the food out, or do they make people even go pick it up themselves? Like, who knows? You know, if you work in a mall that's going away because everybody shops online, Amazon, you know, whatever, they just get it shipped to their house. So I don't understand why you wouldn't want to learn another skill. Learning another language, as we talk about that a lot, can only help you. It helps you understand English better, you know, because you can understand derivatives and the roots of words, and it makes you more, you know, broadly educated. And this is a similar thing. Like, why would you not learn something that isn't any harder than anything else? If you have the right approach and the right mindset and the right attitude, you know, you can really do well at this. So with things that are changing, understanding how technology moves and seeing that this is something that you can do technically in your spare time. I know that's the worst thing to say, because that's always like the gimmick. Oh, you do it in your spare time. But it's like, you know, you can. Like, for me, I do it in the morning before I go to work.
You know?
I think you should do it in your spare time at first.
You should.
You shouldn't. You can't. But yeah,
but
I think
there's no reason
for people not to get involved.
There's no reason not to, and there's nothing to be afraid of. Like, it's a financial institution. You know what I mean? Like,
you're so willing to throw your money into a 401k that you don't even know where the money's going. But now we're out here just trying to say, yo, take control. You don't want control? Like,
right.
Y'all don't want control? Like, that's really what people will tell. And it's like, I think a lot of people are very scared. And I think people...
I don't see anything wrong with that.
And listen, we're about to go through some shit. Because when the economy does correct, to whatever degree...
it will correct.
When that... what happened in 2008? Nobody spent money on a goddamn thing. And everybody got scared of Wall Street and got scared of giving other people their money. So I think what that's going to lead to in trading is either one of two things. I think people will... Number one, they're going to stop wanting to put their money other places because they want to sit on cash at first. And then once that clears, is they're not going to want to give their money to anybody anymore. And I'm hoping that more and more people want to take control for themselves. And that's what we've always preached, is the freedom because you have the control. The same way that creating the other streams of income that we've talked about even here give you more of that freedom. Not relying on trading solely when you don't have a 6-figure, 7-figure account is more, I think, more logical than trying to force it. It's more logical to let that account continue to grow over time while you build other streams of income. I'm 100% a believer in that. Absolutely. I'm probably the only Forex educator that'll ever preach that because, like, I'm more realistic, I think, than a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people can come into Forex and just pick it up and start making money right away. No matter what. No matter what. No. You're still going to have to, if you're brand new, you still got to start on a demo. You still got to practice.
But the other thing is that people look down on it almost.
In what way?
If you're like, oh, you're not a full-time trader, you're not a real trader. But no, and that's for real.
It's
like,
true, bro.
People, they're like, oh, you're not full-time trader, you're not a real trader. It's like, well, why do I have to do this full-time? Why do I have to give up my guaranteed income and not like why can't I have 3 streams of income? You know, for me personally, restaurant, video, trading. Why would I give that up? Why would I give up all the other money that I make just to say I'm a full-time trader? Again, it's just...
It's a mental decision. It's a mental battle that people have with themselves, and I feel like it's again, to each their own.
Sure.
People will respond back to you in the comments of the video. They're going to say, "Well, Drew, if you had enough money in the trading account, you wouldn't need the other jobs."
Fair enough. Maybe I'm not there yet.
Right.
I'm not there in my journey
Welcome
yet.
to reality,
You know what I mean?
everybody.
This is my journey. Some people by 3 years, they're cracking dough. This is where I'm at. Every trader is individual, and where you're going to be in your trading journey is different than the next.
That's so
and
true.
I think that as long as, like you said, you
Stick
block
to
out
yourself.
any noise of anyone, you know, directly or indirectly around you who may be making you feel some type of way about what you're doing, you have to look inside yourself and find your resolve to say, like, no, like, this is, I believe in this, I have valid reasons to believe in this, and I'm going to give this everything I want. And then, you know, you don't ever want to, like, show people up, but if you consistently go down this road, in 6 years, a byproduct of your trading is going to be increased income, and you're going to be like, hey, how'd you get that house?
Right.
And be like, because I've been trading for 6 years and I've been grinding while you've been telling me that.
And pay for it in cash.
And yeah, have you made any money yet? Like, no, I haven't made a lot of money yet, but I'm not stopping until I do.
Well, for me, it's not even more about the money. For me,
That's where people focus.
for sure. For
That's
me,
why
it's
I
the
say
freedom.
that.
Like, the people who talk shit to me,
Freedom's the best.
no one can talk shit to me that has a job. That has to do. If you're doing something you like, and you talk shit on what I'm doing, we're not friends. You're already a loser to me. Because to me, finances come and go, like I said. And I think that having the control over my own time, and for both of us, again, and this to everybody else, owning your businesses, owning the skills so that you can continue to produce. Like, I used to DJ every weekend. Right. DJing was my money-making skill when I got into business when I was 15, 16. You know what I'm saying? So to have those skills, I would take that any day over a regular 9-to-5 salary job. That guy could fire you and you own nothing. Nothing. Mm-hmm. I've now built businesses that create income for me when I don't have to work every day. And I think that is a mindset shift. Like this morning, selling courses. Before I even start trading, I'm making money, which is then making the trading easier. So again, it goes back to that original point we said. But I did want to ask you, the idea about just focusing a little bit more on other people. Mm-hmm. When you have people in your life close to you, friends, family, acquaintances, that talk shit, that are in your head, potentially saying stop trading, potentially saying it's gambling, it's fake, it's not a real job, you're not bringing any value to anybody. Right. What do you say to that?
I mean, it's as real as anything else that you're putting money into. When I first started my video, production things, I was making zero money doing video, and I put out about $8,000 to buy equipment because I wanted to
huge risk.
Yeah, I was making no money. I was doing like
huge
free
risk.
Music videos and some stupid things here or there, and I had my sister, other people were just like, I can't believe you just spent all this money. You're not making any money doing video. Well, I'm not on my ass. I had the restaurant job, which was affording me, to get these. But I did. I didn't have $8,000 cash to buy this stuff, so I swiped on a credit card and I put the investment in myself, and I said, no, I'm going to make something of this because I believed in what I was doing, and I knew that I had a talent and it was going to work out with hard work. And sure enough, within a year, I had paid off all that equipment because I found work. And I specifically found work because this camera that I'm still shooting with, I specifically bought that camera and was almost hired. I was hired also because of my editing skills.
But it's been a nice enough camera.
But I had a camera, and they also wanted to hire me because I specifically had bought that camera. So it's funny how things work out. And to take that long story short into trading, it's like, if you believe in yourself, and this is something that touches you like in your heart or in a spot in your soul where you're like, you know what, this feels right.
Fuck everybody else.
Then you have to really give it 100%.
And fuck everybody
else.
And
to give it 100% is to do it how we said. Don't just blindly go into it. Have your 5, areas of survival. Your survival 5 or whatever.
Then blocking out everybody else.
And understand that it's a process. So if you have, it's going to take time.
This is one of my last questions. So if you have somebody like family or somebody close to you that's in your face, for example, like I had my dad, and I've had a lot of my cousins and family like that just hate it. They have no concept of what I'm doing. They don't understand it, so they hate it. How do you block that out? Give the people at home that are watching and like, cause dude, we have people in these group chats that we work with, and that are struggling because their parents don't even, dude, I could think of 3 people off the jump. Their parents don't even know that they trade because and they're 20, 30-year-old women. They don't even tell their family about this because they don't want to be judged. What do you do to block that away, push that away? What are podcasts, YouTube videos?
I've been very fortunate. Like when I dropped out of college, my mom had a fight with me, but then after she heard my side of it, she was very supportive. When I was putting all this money into my video, she was just like, I trust you, I believe you. So I've always had a good support system.
That's amazing.
My mom has always trusted me. That's that great. She raised me well, that I would, be all right and do the right thing. So that's fortunate for me. For other people, I think what you have to understand is you just have to show them. You can't say anything to them right now.
Actions speak
because yes, and the only way to do that is to put in the work. You just have to say, look, I understand that this may not be for you, but this is for me, and I have to live my life the way that I think is best. And if you love me enough, then you'll help me and not try and tear me down. But unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. If it doesn't go that route, then you gotta box off.
And you gotta
find it in community.
Yeah, exactly.
Find it in other people who are trying to aspire to the same levels that you are, see the vision.
And stick with them.
Yeah.
Hold them close.
Because when you have multiple people all aligning on the same idea and the same energy, it's contagious, and it's really, to get kind of like esoteric, if you will, it does manifest. Like what you put out is what you get back.
Hell yeah.
You align with the vibration and the energy that you're at. So if you're only in the negative, then you're going to get a lot of negative consequences with some sprinkles of sunshine. But why not be the other way, where you're aligned and going in the direction with the right people and bringing to you the things you want with only sprinkles of like rain here or there.
So my last question, to kind of stick with what you just said, the vibrations, and it's not esoteric, because I really do believe that what you put out is what you get back in the universe.
Too. I've lived it, and
me too, and just I've
shown it in my life.
And even in trading, where we talked about this a lot, when you push and force trades, what do? They run away from you. But when you sit back and wait for them, they come to you. So that whether you want to call it esoteric or what.
I couldn't think of a word.
Sure. But people will call it that because people
Right.
are stupid. But for the people that are still listening, that manifestation comes from within. So would that mean that of everything that we talked about today, even the things about how to survive, the things about how to block out other people, out of all of those things, since it comes from within, would that mean that successful trading comes from what? Understanding a chart or from understanding yourself?
Yeah, first and foremost is understanding yourself and knowing, your tendencies and where you need to work and where you are doing well. Belief in yourself is first and foremost in anything in life. This isn't unique to any other endeavor that you undertake. Whether you're opening a business, whether you're starting a new job, or you're starting a new relationship, whether you're breaking up in a relationship, buying a new car, this is any other endeavor that you're going through, and things take time. And if you are...
Great things take time.
Yeah.
Great things, to give you that reward, take time.
Absolutely. Nothing comes easy. And I think if you can get out of the funnel of the sports cars and all that, because yes, that can happen. That is not a lie. No 100%. One is lying to you. The only thing that they're misleading you on is the time and the effort. And you should know better that if you see things that look too good to be true, they probably take a lot of effort to get there. It's not untrue. You just got to be willing to put in the work. And the work starts at home. And I think when your trading and your personal life align, you see so many parallels, and then you see how trading can make your life better and how your own life can make your trading better.
Like the way you act in your own life. Absolutely. Yeah, because you act the same way in the market where you want to manifest that. You can manifest that stuff in your own personal life too, 100%.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me out to your beautiful new spot. It's awesome, man.
Dude, I'm glad you finally came. So I'm hoping for everybody that's watching, we appreciate you guys being on. We appreciate, we're probably looking at like at least an hour here. If you learned something, if you liked anything that we were talking about, if you didn't like anything that we were talking about even, hit the comments below. Just so everybody knows, this video is sponsored by Audible. So on me and Drew, if you're interested, there's a link in the description for 2 free audiobooks. You guys can definitely check that out. And hopefully we'll do this again soon. Maybe I'll come to Jersey next.
Yeah.
And we'll do it with all your cats around. My cat disappeared for now. All right?
Sounds good.
Thanks, brother.
Appreciate it.